So have you guys ever wondered why Qantas Classic reward seats seem to be getting harder and harder to find? The last international Classic reward seat that I booked was all the way back in August of 2023. And whilst I've traveled internationally multiple times since then, it hasn't been with Qantas. Over the past year, it seems like it's become harder than ever to find Classic reward seats with Qantas. And with the recent changes to the Qantas frequent flyer program that were just announced a few weeks ago, things don't seem to be looking any better for the program as a whole. So let's unpack what's been going on with Qantas's Classic reward seats and understand the changes that have been just announced a few weeks ago. Now, in order to provide a little bit more context to this whole situation we're currently dealing with the limited number of Qantas Classic reward seats, we first have to go all the way back to April of last year when Qantas made a huge overhaul of their frequent flyer program, where they introduced the Classic Plus flight rewards. Qantas Plus was introduced by Qantas to help frequent flyer members more easily find and book reward seats using their Qantas points, in an attempt to address the number of complaints related to the limited availability of Classic rewards. Now, before the introduction of Classic Plus rewards, if you wanted to book a flight using points, then you could either book a Classic rewards flight, where there's a fixed number of Qantas points required to book that flight, plus any taxes and fees, or via a points plus pay option, which allowed you to redeem your Qantas points based on a sliding scale of your choosing at checkout plus cash. The Classic Plus was designed to sit in between these two options, with the amount of Qantas points required being dynamically priced based on the cash price equivalent. Qantas did confirm that Classic Plus rewards would generally require more points than Classic rewards, but still promised to offer some of the best value in the frequent flyer program, which in my opinion was debatable. The initial feedback from members wasn't exactly positive. Whilst the move made reward seats more accessible, many saw the tactic as a way to push members towards higher priced redemptions. It also gave Qantas a chance to further limit the availability of Classic rewards, the very problem that members were complaining about. Now, at the time, Qantas did also pledge to still offer over 5 million Classic reward seats annually across Qantas, Jetstar, and its partner airlines. However, there has been a lot of discussion lately within the aviation scene about there pretty much being no Classic reward seats available across popular long-haul destination flights. I recently did a search of Classic reward seats through seats.aero and tried to find any long-haul reward seats departing from any Australian capital city to popular long and medium-haul destinations like LA, London, Japan, and Hong Kong over the next 12 months. And shockingly, it found 0 flights available in economy. And if you thought I'd have any more luck in business, then you'd be dreaming. But when I searched for the exact same flights, but this time only looking at Virgin Australia, I saw hundreds of reward flights available in economy, and even some availability in business class as well. The current state of Qantas Classic reward seat availability is nothing short of disappointing. Qantas pledged to continue to offer over 5 million Classic reward seats annually, but I think we can all agree that that's been a lie. To not offer a single Classic reward seat to Europe or America for a full year is a pretty obvious devaluation of the program as a whole. If you can't even book a Classic reward seat in economy for you and your partner, why are we even accumulating all of these Qantas points? Now, before we move on, if you do want to stay up to date with updates like this one, then make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter where I talk about all things personal finance, credit cards, and even flights. Links will be down below. Now, unfortunately, the bad news doesn't stop there, because just recently, Qantas announced some further changes that they're making to their frequent flyer program. Now, whilst not all the updates that they're making to the program are bad, overall, in my opinion, the program has still devalued even further. Now, Qantas has tried to spin this as a positive change, but don't let them fool you. So let's unpack everything, and since we're already talking about the negative stuff, let's start off there. So starting in August of 2025, the number of Qantas points required for Classic reward seats and Classic upgrades will increase by as much as 20%. This includes reward bookings traveling with Qantas, longer haul Jetstar flights, as well as all of their partner airline operated flights. Here are some examples of the increase to Classic reward pricing across both economy and business class flights. You'll notice across the board from Qantas, Jetstar, and partner airlines, there will be an increase in the total number of points required for the same flight. The exception is with Jetstar's short-haul flights, which we'll touch on a little bit later in the video. Now, you'll also notice that the taxes and fees for business class reward flights will also be increasing. And that's because Qantas will be increasing the taxes and fees that you'll need to pay for all business class and first class reward flights. Now, whilst I've never personally requested for a Classic upgrade, since they're mainly saved for Qantas's most premium status members, those will also require on average between 10 to 20% more points than previously. So once all of these changes roll out, members will not only have to pay more Qantas points, but also potentially pay more in taxes and fees for the same reward seats. And that's assuming you can even find a Classic reward seat in the first place. Now, whilst devaluations are always bad, I will acknowledge that it has been over 6 years since Qantas have increased the taxes or the Qantas points required for its Classic reward seats. So it was bound to happen eventually, but it also came at a pretty inconvenient time given all the news surrounding the lack of Classic reward seat availability. Now, you still have at least 6 months to book flights at the current rates that they are. So if you are able to find the rare Classic reward seat out there in the wild, then make sure you take advantage of it. Now, luckily, it's not all bad news. Qantas did announce that they will be adding 1 million additional Classic reward seats this year. And I would like to point out that this is on top of the 5 million Classic reward seats that they apparently are releasing. Now, these seats won't come directly from Qantas themselves, but instead from partner airlines. The majority of them will actually be coming from Hawaiian Airlines, who will be joining the One World Alliance in 2026, whilst a small portion will be from other One World partner airlines like KLM, Air France, and Finnair. Now, for those of you who like to use your reward seats on shorter haul Jetstar flights, there's some good news there. Economy reward seats on short haul flights, like from Melbourne to Sydney or to Gold Coast, will now be available at just 5,700 Qantas points. This makes Jetstar now the go-to for the cheapest one-way economy reward seat. However, given that Jetstar is really the only budget airline available now in Australia, it kind of makes sense. Now, it is important to note that longer haul Jetstar flights will still see a price hike in line with the broader changes. And lastly, for those of you who travel on business or end up having to pay cash fares quite often, frequent flyers will see up to a 25% boost in the number of Qantas points earned on domestic routes. Additionally, for those traveling in premium cabins, the earn cap for status members is also being removed. So for example, if you're a bronze member flying from Melbourne to Sydney, you earn an additional 365 points compared to previously. And if you're a platinum member flying between Melbourne to Sydney in business, you earn an additional 1,500 points. So what are all of my thoughts about these changes? So firstly, I think that these changes reinforces the importance of spending your frequent flyer points whenever you can, because they are going to devalue the longer you leave them. So whether it's a short haul economy flight from Melbourne to Sydney or a long haul flight from Melbourne to London, if you can find a Classic reward seat, then I would definitely book that flight using your Qantas points. Don't hoard your points just for the slim chance of finding that rare business class reward flights, because as we've seen, those right now are next to impossible to find. Secondly, I think it's more important than ever to diversify the frequent flyer points that you're earning. If you're someone who's been all in on the Qantas frequent flyer program, then it kind of sucks because there's literally no classic reward flights to book right now. But if you were earning both Qantas and Velocity points, then you wouldn't be as impacted because you can still use your Velocity points to book Velocity reward seats. I personally haven't really been focusing on earning Qantas frequent flyer points for well over a year now. And if you've been following me, then you'll know that I've been focused solely on earning Velocity points instead. So moving forward for me personally, I still won't be looking to accumulate any more Qantas points, and instead just continue to focus on the Velocity and American Express programs. So let me know what your thoughts are about all of these changes that have been happening. Do you guys reckon Qantas's frequent flyer program is now worse than Velocity's? Because I certainly do. If you guys like this video, then make sure to hit that like button down below because it really does help me out, and make sure to subscribe as well for more content like this in the future. And if you're interested in learning about the best ways to find Velocity reward seats, then make sure to check out this video right here.